Thank you very much. Hello, my name is Zsófia Bécsi. I teach here at the University of Pécs, the Department of Philosophy. Partly I'm a teacher here in the university. I teach ethical and philosophical classes, but also I teach high school with subjects. So my work is a bit complex like this. Now I would like to share my screen. I hope it will work as it should be. So right now, and, you can see my presentation. And, that would be great if you could tell me what can you see.
It's perfect now.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so inclusion is social interest. This became the final title of my presentation. Here you can see the main points I will go through during my presentation. I believe in that philosophers' teaching can give us many things even nowadays during the 21st century. And I would like to see a few examples from the history of philosophy. What can we learn from these authors if we start to deal with the concept of inclusion? My first idea was to give the title Inclusion as Social Virtue. This was my first idea, but later on I just changed it because I started to think about inclusion as a method, as we try to make community, try to build up a society. We are human beings, we are social beings. So it's a very important question. How do we act in a group? What kind of virtues do we think about? What do we think are important? Inclusiveness for me means openness. A person who is open to inclusiveness has an open heart, and that person has to be an open-minded person as well. But as I was thinking about inclusion as a virtue, then I thought this is more than it. This is a need of all of our community. But let's get back to the beginning. Plato was the first philosopher who wrote a book about an ideal community. The title of this book was The Republic. In this book, he determined that there are three main groups of the society, and who belongs to which group depends on the material of the soul, as he described his idea. But this material of the soul is a metaphorical idea, of course, but really it depends on the nature of the certain person. Those people who were very good at moderation, so the workers who can actually product anything for the community, they became the workers of this community. And Plato said their soul is made of iron or bronze. It depends on the translation of the book. But he said these people could fight against each other, especially when they try to change their products. So it is very important. Another group who try to keep the community peaceful. These people are the guards, who are really soldiers. Their soul is made of silver, as he imagined it. These people had to be brave, so their nature carries the virtue of courage. And the third idea of the groups is that if there are only guards and workers, then the possibility of their conflicts is very, very high. So they need rules. When can the guards act in the workers' projects, or when can they work together? How can they manage to organize their lives? So these rulers who made these laws and norms are the philosophers, who had to be very clever people. So their virtue is wisdom, and Plato said their soul is made of golden. So why I just brought this table to you to show even in the ancient Greeks were thinking about that the community can work very well only when when the people who are in this community act what their nature tells them. So what they are good for, when they are so successful in a kind of job, then when the individuals can be successful, then the whole community can reach nearly anything. Something similar came to Adam Smith's mind, who was an English philosopher from the age of the Enlightenment. He used the chess table metaphor. The chess table metaphor means that the society works as we play chess. All the individuals has their own position, and everybody has their own social roles and social functions. And we have to act, and we have our own rules that depends on our social roles. So if there is, let's say, a doctor, the doctor has to work very well and work on his patient's mental and physical health as well. But if you are a teacher, you have to teach very well. And if you are a chef, you have to cook very well. But you don't have to change these roles. If you are a teacher and you would like to cook very well, it will be a very hard project for you. And because this will take all your energies, and you cannot teach as well, because all the time and your attention will go to the kitchen and not to your workplace. So Adam Smith said a community can work very well if their individuals know what is their role, and they act as good as possible on their special places. So later on, during the 20th century, there was another thinker, John Forbes Nash. He was actually a mathematician, and he criticized Adam Smith. I'm sure many of you know the film A Beautiful Mind that came out in 2001. And of course, there are some small mistakes in this film, but there is the bar scene in this film. You can see the pictures about that small part of the film, where we can understand how Nash criticized Smith's idea. Smith said the best results comes when everyone in the group does what is best for themselves. So Smith said, when a human being is a selfish being, it's a natural thing, and it's well, because if each of the individuals act selfishly, but they try to reach what they want, then they just sum up together, and the whole society can reach what is good for the society. But then Nash said, it's not working like that. We have to communicate before we start to act. So Nash said the best result comes when everyone in the group does what is best for themselves and for the group as well. So he just wanted to show how important communication is before we try to act. And because of communication, we can cooperate, and from cooperation, we can build up communities. So then I would like to go through that inclusion is more than just a virtue. It is a social interest, but why it's worth it? Because if we try to be inclusiveness, we would like to be inclusive, then we have to do long-term thinking or planning. Then we have to do the community building. And inclusion, thinking about the points and the views of the inclusion makes that we are taking responsibility, and just staying on the moral side, that will result clear conscience as well for us. If we think about inclusion, that will result a win-win situation for even those people who believe they are in the main group of the community, and even for those who think they are in the minority, because all of them will find their own place in the society depending on their nature and all the things they are good at it. So uh, I just mentioned the moral side of the concept, but to be honest, during the 21st century, when we are thinking about any action or any choice or anything we are planning to do, of course we ask ourselves: is it good for us? Is it good for the community? But to be honest and truly, we ask, is that useful for us or not? So I just try to see inclusion from a utilitarian point of view, and it came out for me that dealing with inclusion is not just a moral point of view. However, we should be enough if we listen to conscious, but it is useful for the whole society as well. Everybody should be and can be useful for the society. And if we don't deal with this statement and we exclude anybody from a community, then we will generate more problems, because whoever we exclude, we have to help, because they have to deal with their life later on as well. And now I would like to ask the question: how do we think about inclusion in the field of education? John Dewey said that schools are part of the society. We do not prepare for life in schools. They are not models. We live life, actual life in schools. So the schools are not small machines where we just try to do what we will do later on out in the real life. It is real life in the school. The schools mean smaller communities of a society, and schools have effects on future with the method of education. In the schools, inclusion should be um, part of everyday's life and everyday thinking. If inclusion is not the part of our schooling system, then it won't be the part of our society. That's my statement at the end. So what is our role? Our role, who we are thinkers, we have some different effects on the schooling system, even if we train teachers, or when we go to the schools, to the classroom to teach students. So what shall we do? I just came out with this idea that we have to ask, first of all, who needs help? What kind of help do they need? How can we act? So asking is the first point. The second one, we have to pay attention. We have to take care what are their answers, even the smallest bits of their answering. And then we have to plan what would we like to do, how can we manage to work together and making up a community. And when we are ready with our plans, we have to express it to each other. When we are talking about our plans in smaller groups and with each other, then we can start to act. And when we are at the field of at the step of the action, then we have to start it again and repeat the whole process. So if you read through these beginning letters of these words, then my main message is coming out that appearance is the most important thing. We have to appear. I think inclusion is a very important question and concept, we have to talk about it, even in formal and in informal ways. It's a very good thing when we can take part in conferences like this, and we publicate about our ideas and the importances of inclusiveness. So thank you very much for your attention.